Hello, my name is Nicola Callahan and I am the subject leader for Latin, Classical Civilization and Ancient History here at Herts and Essex, and today I'm going to talk you through what it is like to study Classical Civilization at Herts and Essex, and then we're going to hear some testimonials from our students about what the course is like and what you will be studying at A-level. Okay, so as I just mentioned, my name is Nicola Callahan and I am the subject leader for classics here at Herts and Essex. So if you do decide to study A-level Classical Civilization next year, you'll be taught by both myself and Mr. Guy Barrett, who is the other member of the classics department. So what I'm going to do now is take you through an overview of the Classical Civilization course. There are three components that make up the OCR A-level Classical Civilization. All three are examined at the end of year 13. So what I'll do is take you through each of those components now. So first of all, we will study the world of the hero. This is worth 40% of the total A-level and is a 2-hour and 20-minute exam at the end of year 13. For this module, you will study both Homer's Iliad and Virgil's Aeneid. So we start with the Iliad in year 12. Homer was considered by the ancient Greeks themselves to be the foundation of Greek culture. He explores in his Iliad the idea of heroism, the idea of the relationship between gods and mortals, the role of women in society. So it's a really good insight into the way in which the Greeks viewed women and men and the gods and the role of the gods. The Iliad, as I'm sure you've all heard of the Trojan War, so the Iliad joins the Trojan War in the final year and explores the anger of Achilles. So you see him remove himself from the fighting, you see him experience the death of one of his best friends, and then ultimately get his revenge on the Trojans and on Hector in the final scenes of the Iliad. So it's a really brilliant epic poem. Lots of exciting scenes of battles. You get to explore the relationships that men had with gods. You get to see some really strong independent women as well in the Iliad. In year 13 then we go on to study Virgil's Aeneid. So Virgil was the Romans' counterpart to Homer. He was producing an epic in the style of Homer, for which the Romans could then use as one of their foundation stories. So Virgil explores the character Aeneas. He is a Trojan prince who has escaped from the Trojan War, and he is going to go on and found the Roman race of people. So in this story there's again lots of drama, lots of tragedy. You get to explore Aeneas as a character and see him struggle with his fate and his destiny and what he knows he has to do compared to at times what arguably he wants to do. So he has a real strong sense of duty, and that's what ultimately drives him through. Again, you've got lots of gods and goddesses in this story, lots of battle scenes, love, tragedy, everything. Virgil manages to capture all of it in his Aeneid. It's a really great piece of work. He also is writing the Aeneid for the Emperor Augustus, so what you are dealing with is also a piece of propaganda. So there's almost another layer to Virgil's epic, which we get to explore in great depth as we go through it. The second module that you will study is Greek tragedy. This makes up 30% of the A-level, and you will study Greek tragedy in year 12. So it's argued that the drama that's produced in the ancient Greek theatre forms some of the most powerful literature of the ancient world and has had a profound and wide-reaching influence on modern culture. So it's a really exciting piece or module to study. You study a number of plays, both tragedy and comedy. So you get to look at great playwrights such as Sophocles, Euripides, Aristophanes, seeing what was important to those playwrights and getting a real insight into what was happening in ancient Greece in around about 750 BC. And then finally, the third module that you will study is the democracy of Athens, and looking at the Athenians in particular. So you will study this in year 13. In this component, the idea is to examine the concept of democracy, what it meant to the Athenians, the positive and negative aspects of it. You will look at how democracy permeated Athenian identity, how it was celebrated and idealized, but also how it was criticized as well. So it's a real insight into the founding of democracy, what it meant to the people, and what modern day politics and political ideals has taken from the ancient world, and what we can learn from those ancient Athenians. So again, that is an exam that we cover in year 13, and you will sit the exam at the end of year 13. So these exams, you do not need to have any prior knowledge of classical civilization in order to take the A-level. Everyone comes as a blank canvas to the A-level. It may be that you've read some Percy Jackson, that you were interested in Greek myths as a child and want to explore the ancient world in a little bit more detail. We have the great the fact that we get to celebrate both Roman and Greek culture is really exciting part of the A-level classical civilization. There is a lot of essay writing and there is a lot of reading. So what we do ask is that you have at least a level 6 in your GCSE English, whether that's English language or English literature. If you have studied either classical civilization or ancient history at GCSE, that's amazing. Again, we ask that you have a grade 6 in those subjects. If you haven't, then what we ask for is a grade 6 in either Latin or another humanities, so you might have done history or geography. The reason for that is we just need to make sure that you are able to access the volume of literature that we explore, and obviously there is a lot of essay writing that forms a lot of the examination. So where is classical civilization going to take you in the future? Well, we've had huge success with our students in the past. We've sent them to some of the most prestigious universities in the country. We've had classics students go off to study classics at Cambridge, Durham, Warwick, St Andrews, King's College London, and they don't just go on to study classics. You might have an interest in drama or English or philosophy, politics. Classical civilization, the beauty of it is that it touches on all of these different aspects and different elements. So because it encompasses so many different things, it sets you up for study in all of these various different areas. Quite a lot of people take classical civilization just as something that they are interested in, and then become so devoted to it that they end up studying it at university anyway. And then going beyond that, classical civilization, the study of any of the classic subjects, is still really highly regarded by both universities and employers. What it shows an employer is that you are versatile, that you are a critical thinker, that you are able to think logically, that you are able to compose arguments, look and explore the evidence of the past, and piece together an account of what you think has happened. And that's a really desirable skill to have, and therefore, employment in careers in law, medicine, media, accountancy, archaeology, there are so many different areas that you would be able to explore having studied classical civilization at A-level. So it opens up a lot of doors for you. So what I'm going to do now is hand you over to some of our current classical civilization students here at Herts and Essex, and they will give you a bit more information on the course and what they have enjoyed about studying classics here at Herts and Essex.
What do you find most interesting about your studies so far?
Well, for classical civilization, I like how it's combined of like English literature, ancient history, and art, and just like lots of subjects. It's very like varied, which is really good. And I feel like you can do a lot with it in the future. And I was like an external student, so classics was like the only like subject that I really wanted to do, and it was not at like any other school, so it was really good that it was here. How did you find the transition from GCSE to Year 12?
Well, I've been here since Year 7, so the transition for me was quite easy, but teachers always said how much of a jump it was from GCSE to A-level, so you do need to be prepared that the work is harder and you do need to be organised, but the courses are all really interesting, so it is worth it in the end. You just have to hit the ground running, get into it straight away. What advice would you give a Year 11 considering studying this subject?
I feel like just like love loads of different subjects, because then it'll be really helpful in studying classics, and just to, I don't know, maybe do like a bit of research beforehand for taking the subject.
And be prepared that you'll need to do extra reading.
Yeah, definitely. What do you want to do in the future?
Well, I'm thinking about applying to university to study English literature with history, or I'm looking to join the Metropolitan Police on a degree level apprenticeship scheme, so it's quite exciting. There's lots of opportunities at Arts and Essex, so they help you choose what to do.